Okay. Hey guys, so I have a few requests to do this to help you guys see this. So I'm going to write out the steps and we're going to go through this problem step by step. Okay, so step one is to read the problem. All right, so dilate 2x plus 4y, or 4 equals y, with a scale factor of 2 about 0, 1. What is the equation of your new line? All right, so this is the equation for my original line, which I have to dilate. I have to dilate it with a scale factor of 2, and my center of dilation is 0, 1. Now, because my center of dilation is not 0, 0, it's not as easy as just multiplying a point on your line by the scale factor and then plotting that. You have to do a few more steps. Okay, so if you remember, step 1, let me write that in black. Hold on. Step 1 is, so since my center dilation is not 0, 0, I kind of have to make it so that it is, in a way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a point on that line, 2x plus 4 equals y, and move it so that my center dilation is 0, 0. And the way you do that is you subtract your center dilation from one of the points on that line. Now, I don't know any of the points on that line offhand, but if I look at the equation of the line, 2 represents my slope, right here, and 4 represents my y-intercept. So if 4 is my y-intercept, then I know on that line for sure that 0, 4 is a coordinate that I can use. So that is actually what I'm going to use. If I want to find the equation for a new line, all I really need to do is find an equation that looks like this. It has to have y equals, my slope is always going to remain the same no matter what I'm doing to the line. If I'm dilating it, the slope is always the same. So my slope is going to be 2x when I do this. And I just have to solve for my y-intercept. Now, I know the y-intercept for my new line, which is 4. I know the y-intercept for my old line, which is 4. I can use that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract from my y-intercept my center of dilation. So my coordinates for my y-intercept are 0, 4, right? Remember this? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract my center of dilation, this, from those coordinates. Now x has to be subtracted from x, and my y coordinates have to be subtracted from y. So it's going to look like this. 0 minus 0, that's my x coordinates, and 4 minus 1. Alright? So my new coordinates for my point on my new line, my new coordinates for my line when I push it to 0, 0 as my center dilation, it's going to be 0, 3. Okay? Now the next thing I have to do is actually dilate. So since my center dilation is now 1, not 1, now that it's 0, 0, all I have to do is multiply my new coordinates, these right here, by 2. So 0 times 2. Why 2? Because 2 is my scale factor. Go back to the problem, make sure I'm correct. Alright. So my coordinates for my y-intercept after I dilate it is now 0, because 0 times 2 is 0, and 6, because 3 times 2 is 6. Alright. Now the last step I have to do, the last thing I'm going to do, is since I've pushed my point that I'm going to dilate to 0, 0 as my center dilation, I have to push it back to 0, 1. So I'm going to add back my center dilation to my new coordinates, these right here. So I'm going to do 0 plus 0 and 6 plus 1. Alright, so I'm going to end up getting 0, 7. Okay, so let's look at this again. So my center of dilation is 0, 1. Since in my first step, I moved my point so that my center of dilation would be 0, 0. Then I dilate it. Then the last thing I have to do is push it back to my center of dilation as 0, 1. So I'm gonna add those coordinates back. So I get 0, 7. Alright, so I did all this. This gives me right here, this gives me my y-intercept for my new line. So my final answer, I'm just going to change B to 7. And that is my final answer right here. That's all you have to do. Graphically, you can graph it and make sure that those two lines right here, this one and this one, have the same slope, that they're parallel. If they're parallel, you most likely did it in the proper way. If they're not parallel, something's wrong. Your slopes guarantee that these lines are parallel. So if your lines are not parallel when you graph it, either you made a mistake graphing or you made a mistake in your problem. Okay, so I hope this helps. All right, let me just make this red final. There we go. Okay, see you guys.